Hi guys and happy Halloween. Today we are going to be making Halloween themed cupcakes. Let's get started, shall we? So for your dry ingredients, what you're going to need is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 2/3 cup of granulated sugar, a half cup of cocoa powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. What you want to do is spoon and sift each of your dry ingredients into your mixing bowl. Sifting allows the breakage of any unwanted clumps in your dry ingredients, which we do not want clumps, which sifting really helps. I recommend getting a hand crank sifter. It's a lot easier than patting the sides of your sifter. Now what you want to do now is mix and whisk all your dry ingredients together. For your wet ingredients, what you're going to want is a half cup of sour cream, 1 cup of buttermilk, 3 eggs, 1.5 cups of hot coffee, 3/4 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. You're going to want to put them all together in one bowl and whisk them until combined. After you're finished whisking, we're going to add the wet and dry ingredients together. After that, we're going to whisk until combined. Your batter is going to be wet. Don't worry, it's normal, it's fine. It helps. Your wet batter, once it's finished baking, should be moist. And it'll be light, fluffy, and moist. It's delicious. So you're going to want to whisk that and beat for about 2 minutes on level 2. You're going to want to mix it on level 2 for about 2 minutes. After it's finished mixing, you do not have to have a stand mixer, by the way. You can use a hand mixer, and you could just use the regular paddle attachment. No, don't fret it. After that, you want to fill your cupcake liners with the batter, but leave some clearance, like a good bit of clearance for these cupcakes, because they will rise, and they will rise high, but not too high. About 2/3 way full. I'm using a measuring cup to help measure properly. Do not use a spoon, as it'll go everywhere. After you finish baking your cupcakes, make sure you put them in the refrigerator or freezer on a drying rack or cooling rack, because you want them cooled before you start making your buttercream frosting. Now for the buttercream frosting, what you are going to want is 3 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 pound of confectioner sugar, 1 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature, 3 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, green food coloring, orange food coloring, and black food coloring. For the buttercream, what you want to do is whip the butter for about 5 minutes using a paddle attachment on the stand mixer. Or you could do that with a hand mixer, however, the stand mixer paddle attachment works a lot better. Now, after you're finished and the 5 minutes are up, you want to add the cream and vanilla together, and you want to scratch that, sorry. What you want to do is beat in the confectioner sugar slowly, and while you do that, you want to make sure you scrape the sides of the bowl. Always scrape the sides of the bowl every so often to allow your buttercream frosting to evenly mixed. After the confectioner sugar is empty and it's all mixed in there, we're going to scrape the sides of the bowl again and make sure it's all mixed in. And if it's mixed in, what you want to do is add the cream, the heavy whipping cream, and vanilla extract, and pour that into the bowl and mix and beat until you have an even fluffy consistency. You can make this buttercream frosting ahead of time and put it in a tight seal container and put it in the refrigerator. But when you take it out, what you want to do is take it out a few hours before, or a couple hours before you plan on decorating your cupcakes, as it needs to thaw and become soft in room temperature. Again, treat it like butter since it's mainly butter. Once it's all, after your buttercream, for the piping bags, you do not have to have pastry bags. You can actually just use regular Ziploc bags. And for your buttercream frosting, what you're going to want is orange and green food dye, and you're going to want to mix those together until mix those in separate bowls. 3 separate bowls. Divide each of the buttercream frosting and mix until you get the wanted color. And for the assembly, what you're going to want is 3/4 cup of melted chocolate chips. Make sure they're melted good enough because they're going to harden pretty quickly. Not pretty quickly, but give it about 10-15 minutes and it'll be hardened. Add that to your pastry bag. A helpful tip is have your pastry bags in cups, and that really helps adding the buttercream frosting into your bags. Once you get all of the frosting into the bags, what you want to do, the first monster that we are going to make is the mummy. And for the mummy, what you want to do is add the chocolate layer on the cupcakes, and make sure you spread it evenly. For the chocolate, you want to add black food coloring and mix it in there. However, if you do not have black food coloring, you could just omit it, or you could just use red and green food coloring and mix it. You can get a light gray-ish color. And what I did for the mummy, I just got the flat tip and then made the bandages, and then instead of adding candy eyes, I just added upside down chocolate chips. And now for the pumpkins, I cut out a bigger hole into my piping bag and just went from an up or down and up on both sides, and making a curve to make the pumpkin. And then I cut a smaller hole into the green piping bag and drew leaves into my pumpkin. And here's a tip for your monsters. You do not need candy eyes. You can use them, but not everybody has candy eyes. You can use the white buttercream, and you can make small circles and put upside down chocolate chips. Or use the melted chocolate, and make the eyes. The next thing that I'm making is Frankenstein, and what I'm doing is adding a green layer of frosting, the base layer of buttercream frosting, and I'm spreading it around and making sure it's evenly distributed around the cupcake, and taking off any excess layers of buttercream. Now I'm adding the eyes with the white buttercream, and I'm putting upside down chocolate chips into my buttercream frosting for the eyes. Now what we're going to do is use the melted chocolate to add facial details like hair and scars and a mouth into your Frankenstein's monster. Not Frankenstein, people. Frankenstein's monster. Yes. Now, you can personally decorate your monster however you want to. You can add whatever you want. Be creative. have fun. That's all that matters. And I'm just adding the finishing touches onto my cupcake. The next thing that we're going to be making, the next monster that we're going to be creating is Jack Skellington, or a skeleton. Sorry, I was gonna say skeleton. A skeleton. This one I did a bit sloppy, but I was having fun decorating all these cupcakes, and that's like what really matters. And don't at me, I'm not a professional cake decorator, and I'm not an artist, but I had a ton of fun making these, especially on Halloween. Now just add the white base layer onto your cupcake and use the melted chocolate to add facial features like eye sockets, nose sockets, and a mouth. And you could have like a Stitch grin. When you are making the next thing that we're making is the spider. When you're making your spider, what you want to go ahead and do is use some melted chocolate from your piping bag and make little V shapes, like draw V shapes with it onto parchment paper. And it depends on how many spiders you're planning on making, that affects how many legs you're going to be making. Now transfer that to the freezer and then go ahead and add the white base to your cupcake and draw web designs into your cupcake, and grab a sharp object and start pulling to your cupcake, and that allows you to create a web. Now take out your frozen chocolate and begin to assemble your spider. Take your M&ms and place the legs on the side of the M&ms to create your spider. After that, your spider should be finished. Thank you so much for watching this video. I had a very fun time watching this and making this. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you try this recipe out. I really enjoyed and had a lot of fun. Please like and comment or whatever. I hope you have an amazing day. Bye!